welcome to Lakeville, Connecticut, and welcome to Lime Rock Park for the 5th round of the OBS Super Cup. We're here for the Locals Autosport Super Cup of Lime Rock, the shortest track of the season, where we'll be running 6-lap races for both the heats and the semifinals, and a 10-lap race for the final. The track, 2.462 kilometers and 1.530 miles around this beautiful place. 7 turns and 55.426 is the track record for the Porsche Cup cars around this place. I think that's going to be broken. We've already seen 52s in the practice session. Some aerial shots of the beautiful venue we have today. It's situated, well, there's some up and downs definitely at this place. And what an incredible place it is, and what an incredible place for short racing. You can see the chicane right here in the middle of your screens. That's going to take a lot of action today, especially in the final one. We've got the full grid of cars approaching it and trying to get positions. It's not the easiest place to overtake, and it's not the easiest place to get close, especially that aero wash from the front of the cars. But before we head into the qualifying action, let's check out a track preview. Welcome to Lakeville, Connecticut, and welcome to Lime Rock Park, heading down the front straightaway for round 5 of the OBS Super Cup. Down the brakes from the freeboard on the left-hand side, touching the curb on the inside. It's a third gear, super difficult turn. Then on the power, you're trying to hold it all the way to the exit. Then slight brake, and you keep braking in third gear to hit the inside curb, and then on power, brake again for the right-hander, then on power onto the short straightaway here, onto that super difficult chicane. Hard on the brakes, down to second gear from 5th. You take the inside, take the inside, take the inside. So important to get this section right, because then it's another straightaway to a super duper fast right-hander that's gonna drop down the hill right when you exit it. Down the hill we go, a lot of speed carrying into the final turn. Hit the curb as hard as you can, and then on to the front straight again. This is a short lap of the Lime Rock Park. Well, what an incredible challenge the drivers will have on their hands today. The pro standings on your screens right now. It's Alexander Walton with 435 points achieved so far. Only one race that he hasn't won this season. It's Harold Jototas in P2 with 351 and Philip Hammer with 342. These two will be battling it out for P2. And, well, Alexander Walton has to not slip up today, because the championship, well, it's close to his hands. Vince Peters took a win last time out. He's not here this evening, but that was the first driver to beat Alexander Walton this season. Nicholas Maynard leads the Pro-Am standings, and it's so much tighter at the top. Just 2 points separating him and Henrikas Klepikas with 227 and 225 respectively. Audemars Zelinskas with 210, still very close behind them. Corey Lazarus, one of the fastest drivers in the Pro-Am class, 196, and Edgaras Sosnauskas 194. Remember, we do have the drop rounds as well. Those taken into account. By the end of the season, we'll push some drivers up, and we'll push some drivers down as well. And in the AMS, it is Remigius Novickis who leads the championship with 200 points at the top of the standings. Sander Wimbledon with 173. It is a pretty big gap, especially for the AM class. But again, with those drop rounds, everything can still change. Tomas Urbanas with 154 and Audemars Sakalauskas 141 in his account. They're pretty close with Nicholas Yazowski, 140 for him. They're challenging for that P3 spot. It is a two-way battle for P1 in the AMS. And let's head down to the circuit to check out the final few moments of today's qualifying session. Very wide for Henrikas Klepikas here at the midpoint of the circuit. The laps go by so fast, but it's Alexander Walton still holding pole position, and that will be a very Alexander Walton-y drive to take pole tonight ahead of Tony Renauer and Philip Hammer in P3. The gap's tiny at the front of the field. And we are now heading into our first heat of the evening. It is Alexander Walton on pole, ahead of Arturas Kundelis, Marius Sipas, Nicholas Maynard, Aurimas Žilinskas, Edgaras Ražanauskas, Tomas Urbanas, and Valdas Vancevičius. These drivers fill out your grid for this first heat race of the day. Well, the drivers qualifying into heat races in a very simple format. The driver who qualifies on pole, well, he's on pole in the first heat. Then it's P5 and P9 who line up with him. So it's every fourth driver being taken into the heat. The lights come on and everybody gets ready to go. It's a short run down to the line, but a lot can happen. Off they go. Alexander Walton looks like to have gotten a good start. Arturas Kundelis as well, but he's having to fend off Marius Sipas right behind him. Nicholas Maynard gets into P3, and I think he's just about going to hold that position. But they're side by side with Marius Sipas. Marius Sipas still on the inside, and he's just about going to hold that place. Very cleanly through turn one. I think there was something happening with Valdas Vancevičius. He's 7 seconds back. So he's had some kind of incident, and we'll maybe take a look at that a little bit later on. This is Nicholas Maynard right behind Marius Sipas. Alexander Walton already gapped the whole field. He's managed to do that super duper quickly, but this is Marius Sipas following Arturas Kundelis, both pro cars. Right behind them, Nicholas Maynard, that is a Pro-Am entry. He's fighting for a different set of points, fighting for a different championship, but he's super close to Marius Sipas, and he's having an incredible exit from the last turn to the outside into turn one. Is he going to make the move? No, it's going to be well, around the outside into turn one. That's not very advisable at Lime Rock, and he's now got Aurimas Žilinskas right on his tail, ready to pounce on whatever mistake they might do, but still the gaps have stayed pretty close. Marius Sipas has released Arturas Kundelis at least a little bit, 7/10 now the gap between second and third. Remember, every place you gain here is massive for the final later on. Every place you gain here is 4 places that you would gain in the final. Still, 4/10 between Maynard and Sipas. Looks like this is the battle of the race currently. Remember, these heats super short, but 6 laps here at Lime Rock that we've got. A lot more time, a lot more laps to get things done. Not that much more time. Lap times hovering in that 52 range. 52.4 by Alexander Walton. That thrashes the circuit record so far, but pretty much everyone beating the circuit record by quite a lot. There's still a battle actually further down the field. This is for 6th place. This is Vancevičius versus Ražanauskas. Looks like they both have a little bit of damage. Ražanauskas actually trying to get down the inside of Vancevičius. He has to wait. That's not the place where you want to make those moves. Turn 3, a difficult place here at Lime Rock. He's going to have to wait all the way before they get down to the front straightaway again. And, well, the goal is to try and stay close, but big mistake from Valdas Vancevičius, and that allows Edgaras Ražanauskas through. I think he's just about going to keep that place now. 1.5 seconds the gap there, but super close, and something happened to Marius Sipas. I think he touched the grass on the exit of the final turn. Side by side into turn 1 with Nicholas Maynard. Keeps the inside, does Marius Sipas, and that's the kind of goal that you have to take, and this is the meta game for the race, for the races coming up. I'm sure the other drivers are actually having a look at this as well, seeing how these guys go, seeing where you need to defend, and seeing where you can attack. Looks like it's quite hard to get close to someone, but mistakes do happen. These curbs in the chicane, well, they're incredibly difficult to navigate, and a lot of drivers can get caught out on those, and actually you can get a lot of car damage on those as well. So the Simsa Esports driver in Marius Sipas continues on in P3 if he gets a clean exit here. Ooh, slight dip to the grass and a huge wiggle coming out of the final turn. But I think he just about had a gap in front of him, and it looked like Nicholas Maynard was actually losing time, so maybe he had some issue there as well. Looks like those gaps have kind of spread out a little bit, and the pace difference between the drivers has spread out. Remember, starting on cold tires, it's not easy for them to get them up to temperature, especially when you've got so little time. And, well, so little time and so few corners, actually. You're only really working the left-hand side on the circuit, but when you need to start turning right, that's when problems begin, because you're never going to have the same heat in the tires like you would when you're racing on a more regular circuit. Coming to the white flag is Alexander Walton. White flag in the air. He's going to go fastest again, at least last well, he goes fastest again, 51.63. Another incredible lap by Alexander Walton. He's, I think, hungry for the win tonight after losing out in Barcelona. It was so close between him and Vince Peters. Well, Alexander Walton now in a league of his own. Look at how that car beautifully gets round those turns here at Lime Rock Park. Coming into the chicane, it's very difficult to get your braking point right. Remember, the Porsche Cup cars, no ABS and no traction control. This is a pure race car. Well, at least it's as pure as it gets. And with the characteristics of the rear-engine Porsche, well, these short races are definitely a handful for the drivers. Coming out the final turn, and for I don't know which time this season we're saying this, Alexander Walton takes the win in Heat A. A dominant display by him. Arturas Kunderas, well, he ran a quiet race to finish down in second. Marusipas spinning out, but finishing third. Nicholas Maynard holds on to fourth ahead of Audemars Žilinskas. Valdas Vansavičius is going to come round these final turns, so I think Edgaras Razanauskas had something happen to him. We maybe missed it, but Valdas Vansavičius will take P6 in this heat, and Edgaras Razanauskas in P7. Tomas Urbanas is going to close out the race in P8. Well, that's Heat 1 done and dusted. Another Simsa affair on the front three, actually. On the front row, it's Tony Renaun who's gonna start the car in pole position. Airius Romantas in P2. Lars Baumiller, I believe he's got a pit lane start penalty for a few mishaps in the last round. But we're ready to go green. We'll still have a little bit of time to wait until the iRacing countdown starts. We can run you through the grid order. It's Tony Renaun on pole, Airius Romantas in second, Lars Baumer from the pit lane. Tadas Grasaitis starts in fourth. He's been a guy that's been very quick in qualifying, but he's gotten unlucky in many of the race starts. We've seen him go off the road in Virginia. We've seen him go off the road at Barcelona. Well, can he redeem himself tonight? Aurimas Sakalauskas in fifth, Darius Ruskauskas in sixth, Andras Bogdanovic in seventh, and eighth for Justin Lomeli. The lights come on, ready to take to the track. We'll see how much can Lars Baumiller gain, and it's lights out, and away we go. Looks like a good start from Tony Renaun, and a good start from Marius Jomantas as well, but an even better start from Tadas Grasaitis, who's trying to take them around the outside into turn one. He just backs out of it, thinks better of it. There's no need to rush, and it looks like everybody's kind of got that mentality. Lars Baumiller, you can see they're far back in the field. He's going to try and get past these guys somehow. Airius Jomantas versus Tadas Grasaitis. Grasaitis looks like he's got the tires in better shape, at least for the moment, or at least he's got a little bit more confidence in the car for the moment. Going over the chicane, it looks like Tony Renaun's made a mistake. Oh, and he's touched with Tadas Grasaitis. Incredible scenes. The leader of the race has made a mistake, and, well, now they're going to have to fight back. They're going to see that's actually Lars Baumiller, who's in between them now, a driver that was too far away, and side by side with the VTech Racers replay. Oh, and that's just a touch, and it was just a mistake from Tony Renaun. Tadas Grasaitis down into the pits. I think he's got a lot of damage on his car. He's not going to be happy about that. Another perfect race start, but ruined by something. This time, not by his own fault. But Tony Renaun, we're going to see a lot of work for him to do. Actually, into the lead of the race is Aurimas Sakalauskas, an AM driver. We haven't seen this I think, the whole season. Aurimas Sakalauskas leads in Heat 2. It's Darius Račkauskas in P2. Airis Jomantas in P3. They're going to battle it out for the win. I don't think the leaders are going to be closing in on them enough. I do see an opportunity here for Airis Jomantas, who is trying to take Darius Račkauskas. Darius Račkauskas defends Jomantas to the inside, but they have to just make sure not to lock up. Jomantas finds a way to the inside. Darius Račkauskas went just a tiny little bit wide, and this is what the pro drivers know. They find every single tiny little gap, and they're going to exploit it as much as they can. Račkauskas down into P3. Jomantas, he's looking for the race win. He's just got a little bit of time to kind of compose himself and get the moves done, because it's still midway point of the race. We're on lap 3 only. Well, this is a very exciting heat that we've got on our hands right now. We've actually got a picture-in-picture view with VTEC racers. Again, this is live. That's Tony Renau and Lars Baumiller and Justin Lomelli fighting, but side by side as well for the lead. To the inside goes Airis Jomantas. I think Aurimas Sakalauskas is not going to put too much of a fight here for P1, and no, he doesn't. And if they just manage to get through cleanly, they can get it done. Lars Baumiller down the inside. He's got the move done. You can see some damage on Tony Renau's car. Someone's gone wide, and I think that was Aurimas Sakalauskas actually from the lead coming down across the line, and now he's actually lost it. Maybe our VTEC Racers replay can actually find it somewhere on track. What happened to Aurimas Sakalauskas? I kind of missed it on my screen. Airis Jomantas leads the race. Aurimas Sakalauskas trying to come back through Justin Lomelli. Justin Lomelli has a lot of damage. And here we go. Replay from turn 1. It looked like they went through quite lean. And I think Aurimas Sakalauskas, he just locked up a little bit. And that grass, so treacherous. He went off on his own. Airis Jomantas, he's not taking the white flag yet. He's got 2 more laps to go, but I think he's going to keep his lead over Darius Račkauskas. Wow, Tony Renau actually lucky to get back up into 4th position here. And he's got Lars Baumiller in 3rd, 2nd in the pros and 3rd in the pros. Obviously, the point standings you get for the actual position on track. So even if an AM driver would win the race, he'd get the maximum points. And then 2nd place, even if that was a different class car, well, he can get the points for 2nd place. I don't think Tony Renau is going to actually make a move on Lars Baumiller here. Looks like there's a little bit of damage both on the front and on the rear of his Porsche 911 GT3 Cup. Darius Račkauskas, kudos to him. He's actually held on quite well, and this is your closest battle on track. A little bit wide from Lars Baumiller, but I think he's just about going to be safe down into turn 1. White flag in the air for Airis Jomantas to take the final lap of this heat. He's gotten quite lucky in a few heats, actually. We've seen him in Hockenheim do something similar where others have failed. He's prevailed, and Airis Jomantas going to take, if nothing happens, and we all know in the OBS Super Cup anything can happen. If nothing happens, he's going to take the win. But actually, Tony Renau going purple last time round, 52.14, not even close to what Alexander Walton was doing, but still fastest lap of the race, only a 52.38 for Lars Baumiller. So interesting that they have that kind of difference, even with Tony's car having damage. And coming across the line, it's going to be a win for Airis Jomantas. He takes the checkered flag. Darius Račkauskas, he's going to be super happy about that. P2 for him right today. Lars Baumiller in the P3, P4 for Tony Renau. He's put up quite a recovery here. Andres Bogdanovic just finishes in 5th. Aurimas Sakalauskas in 6th. Justin Lomelli, I think he had some damage, in 7th. And Tadas Krasaitis, he unfortunately retired and finishes in P8. Actually, he's still on track. He's still driving. He's still trying to drive across the line. But he's P8 today in the heat. But remember, you've got so many more races coming up. He can still recover, and we've seen drivers go from nothing in the heats to a feature race incredible result. Maybe not for the pros. For the pros, it's a little bit more difficult. More in the AM and Pro-Am categories. Heat number 3 of the day, and it is another intense one. we do actually have the lights coming on immediately, so everybody's gridded up super quickly. It's Heat C of the day, and it's Philip Hammer on pole position, lights out, and away we go. Good start for Philip Hammer. I think Kagan Spark just struggled. It was actually Haraldas Jototas who struggled, and he's dropped down a little bit. He's dropped down to third because Kagan Spark has taken P2. No, actually, that's the way they started. You can see Eduardas Klepekas battling with Vakaris Vilus, and he gets in front, and that's your gain at the start from 5th to 4th, and from 7th to 6th goes Vytautas Jasiulevičius ahead of Martynas Pargaliauskas, but to the grass, and oh, he's going to spin, and he's going to collect Martynas Pargaliauskas as well. That's your crash of the race. That's so easy to do here at Lime Rock. You just go a little bit wide, and you make that mistake. VTech Racers replay of the day. Here we go on the grass and just spins out and hits Martynas Pargaliauskas in the side. Philip Hammer versus Kagan Spark. This is actually very close. We haven't seen Philip Hammer challenged this much by anyone this season, but Kagan Spark might just about try and make a move. The slipstream working wonders around this place to keep the field packed up and tight. Kagan Spark in P2. Haraldas Jototas in P3, and I think we just had another incident. This is down into turn 1. This is between Eduardas Klepekas and Vakaris Vilus. Vakaris Vilus just locked up and hit Eduardas Klepekas, and both into the wall down there at turn 1. It's so easy to do. Once you go off a little bit, well, then it's game over. Still super tight for the lead here, actually. This is maybe something that we weren't expecting, and maybe something that Philip Hammer wasn't expecting as well. Trading fastest sectors. Fastest sector in Sector 1 for Philip Hammer, Sector 2 for Kagan Spark, Sector 3 for Philip Hammer, and Sector 4 actually for Haraldas Jototas. So the whole top 3 trading fastest sectors across the line. They come. The gap, 0.3 of a second at the front of the field. That's not yet a range that you can overtake from, but hoping for a mistake of Philip Hammer's by Kagan Spark is hoping for a mistake of Philip Hammer. Haraldas Jototas hoping that these two collide. He's kind of dropped off that front pack, but just waiting for maybe a mistake from someone that he could capitalize on. Onto the chicane. We're through the midway point of the race, just 2 minutes down. 2.5 laps down through the S as they go through the super tricky chicane. Still on his tail and super close, actually, Kagan Spark. I think he's maybe just a little bit closer. Last Sector 1, Sector 2, and Sector 3 purple for Kagan Spark. He's doing an incredible job sitting behind Philip Hammer. I think in that final sector, just struggling a little bit. Aero wash coming into effect. Down into turn 1 they go. Let's see if anybody can try and make a move. Can Kagan Spark make Philip Hammer make a mistake? Not yet. To the inside, he still tries. He's showing his nose everywhere. That's a good tactic. Maybe going to work more on the Pro-Am guys. But Kagan Spark, we haven't seen him this far up the field often, but it looks like he's holding on quite well. Feeling at home here at Lime Rock Park. It looks like he just about missed that chicane there, but Philip Hammer also running over the curbs. Philip Hammer putting the hammer down and saying it's hammer time for him, but he goes a little bit wide, and Kagan Spark tries to make it to the inside. Philip Hammer sliding around a little bit. I was just saying he wanted to go hammer time. Well, hammer time's not happening because Kagan Spark right behind him to the inside. He's going to try and make that move stick. To the inside, he keeps it. Let's see if they can go still side by side through turn 1, through turn 2. This is so difficult to do, but Philip Hammer just about holds on. He's now on the inside for turn 3. This is a very advantageous spot for him, but if Kagan Spark can stay on the inside here, now it's advantage Kagan Spark again. Still side by side. They've made half a lap around this place side by side. Now into the chicane. Who's going to blink? Who's going to dive out of it? It has to be Philip Hammer diving out of it. I think they touch a little bit with Haraldas Jototas. This is the chance that Kagan Spark was hoping and praying for. He takes the lead of the race with a 6/10 advantage. You've got Philip Hammer now versus Haraldas Jototas. I think Hammer is just a little bit rattled at the moment. So let's see if Haraldas Jototas can make a move stick. But very interesting that Philip Hammer didn't defend that inside line coming into turn 1. That's where he lost out, because if somebody can stay side by side through that whole section like Kagan Spark did, an amazing sportsmanship by these two guys as well. White flag in the air. Kagan Spark leads, but they're closing down on him. I think Kagan Spark is just trying to take this carefully all the way to the flag. By the way, Eduardo Stepakas in last. They had that contact with Vakaris Vilus. Vakaris Vilus has managed to go back up to P5, and he's going to try and make a move on Martinas Pargalauskas as well. But something I think happened to Harald Lasiotto. He's lost out a little bit of time. But Kagan Spark is going to take a Heat C victory here tonight. An incredible result by him. First victory of the season for Kagan Spark. Incredible drive, and he's gotten the lead from one of the championship favorites, Philip Hammer. It is Hammer in P2, Harald Lasiotto in P3. Martinas Pargalauskas, he's going to come across the line, hold off Vakaris Vilus, just about to take P4. Side by side to the line. Actually, it's going to be a photo finish, but he just about makes it. 22 thousandths of a second behind Martinas Pargalauskas is Vakaris Vilus. Vytautas Jusevičius just crosses the line as well. Eduardas Stepakas, well, unlucky for him. He just got kind of taken out down into turn 1. It's Joey Petrig now on the front row. Next to him, a Pro-Am entry of Henrikas Klapikas. Tim Bretsky in P3. Ignas Vincerzewskis in P4. P5 for Sander Vermillion. Corey Lazarus starting from P7. Corey Lazarus from P6. Remigius Novickis from P7. We're just waiting for everybody to get on to the grid. Joey Petrig in that car, the 97 that you can see here on the left-hand side of the grid. It's actually the dirty part of the grid. Interesting how Lime Rock lines these drivers up. Still waiting for Henrikas Klapikas to jump on the grid, but waiting maybe for just the final moment that he can. Maybe trying to put a little bit of pressure on the other drivers as well. But no, Henrikas Klapikas actually misses the race start, but coming to the lights. 5 lights come on, and the 5 lights are out. Joey Petrig gets a good getaway. It looks like nobody else behind has gotten an incredible getaway, so they all stay kind of in line. Joey Petrig keeps the lead down into turn 1. Tim Bretsky is up into P2. Sander Vermillion actually gained 2 places. He's gotten in front of a few guys. Tim Bretsky gained 1. Ignas Vincerzewskis, I think, dropped that place to Sander Vermillion, but Ignas Vincerzewskis is going a little bit wide there and across the grass, and I think he's going to smack the wall. He was one of the guys that ran in the AM class, and he's been now upgraded to the Pro-Am entry. Well, struggling a little bit. That was just a silly mistake. Is Henrikas Klapikas on the road? No, he's not. I don't see him on track. So it's interesting why that has happened. But Joey Petrig leads, but he's gone. But Tim Bretsky has actually gone wide. I was going to say Joey Petrig's gone wide. It's actually Tim Bretsky who's gone very, very wide through the last turn. That's Sander Vermillion maybe trying to make, or at least think of a move down into turn 1. But holds off for the moment. These are obviously pro cars at the front of the field, so they're not going to make silly moves and silly sends into there. Henrikas Klapikas actually still not on track, so maybe something happened to him. But it is Tim Bretsky in P2. That was the place that Henrikas Klapikas occupied on the grid. Sander Vermillion behind them. This is an AM car that's doing really well to stay in third. If you remember, last heat we actually had an AM car that was leading the race for a moment, then had a little mishap. But it looks like this is going to be our calm heat of the day. We've had these a few times this season where there's not really that much action. Sander Vermillion disappears from our screen for a second there. But it looks like this is the closest battle that we've got. Corey Lazarus versus Sander Vermillion. Can they do something here? Can a battle come up here as well? I think Corey Lazarus just looks a little bit more confident with his car. Fastest sector down in Sector 1. Doing a good job to take that. Actually a 10th quicker than your current race leader, Joey Petrig. And Joey Petrig, 53.1 last time around, 53.0 from Tim Bretsky. Side by side is coming Corey Lazarus. He's going to try and make a move. I think Sander Vermillion is not going to fight it too much. No, he stays on the outside. Still side by side into the final turn. He's going to, yeah, he's just going to let him go and not fight that one too much. because look at that. He's got Remigius Navickas, who's actually his closest rival in the championship. So Sander Vermeulen, well, he wants to fight Remigius Navickas. He doesn't care about Corey Lazarus, who's just going to be quicker. It's just the way it is. You know, you're fighting an AM. It's an AM car versus a Pro-Am car. That's just the way it goes in these races. Joey Petrick has picked up the pace a little bit. 52.5 last time around. 52.59 from Tim Bretsky. So Tim has kind of given up on that fight for the lead. 1.5 seconds, the gap at the front. This is Navickas versus Vermeulen. This is going to be the battle of the race. Something we actually didn't expect to see happen, but battle of the race, here we go. It's Navickas versus Vermeulen, and this is the battle for the AM Championship lead as well. So it's not like they're fighting for nothing. And remember, it's 4 places up in the final if you gain 1 place in the heats. Remigius Navickas still staying on his rear. 2 more laps to go for our drivers. Oh, a little bit wide from Sander Vermeulen. Corey Lazarus off the road. What happened there? Maybe we could spin up the replay machine and find out what happened in turn 1. Here we go. VTech replay of the race. Here we go into turn 1. Ah, that looks like just a little bit too wide and off the road. So for even more points, these two are fighting. And now they're going to come to the white flag in a few moments' time. Through the second to last turn, they're going to come. It looks like Sander Vermeulen just trying to break the draft up a little bit behind him. 2 drivers, very experienced, that have been very, very impressive in the AM class. Looks like Sander has gotten a little bit of a gap in front, and white flag they take. 4/10 the gap between these two. It looked like Remigius Navickas was gaining in turn 1 and 2 quite a lot, but he's now managed to, Sander Vermeulen has managed to take these 2 corners pretty cleanly, and the Belgian driver, well, he's on course for an AM win and a 3rd place overall, actually beating out all of the Pro-Am entries here tonight. But it is an impressive run by Joey Petrick, who I believe takes his 1st win of the season here in Heat D. Joey Petrick from Switzerland, he's going to take the win in tonight's final heat race. Tim Bretsky finishes in P2, a quiet race for him, but Sander Vermeulen going to hold on and reduce the gap at the top of the AM standings. Just a little bit, but every little bit counts. Remigius Navickas in P4, P5 for Corey Lazarus, P6 for Ignas Vincentzewskis, and the non-starter of Henrikas Klepekas behind. Well, here we go. It's time to head into the heats. And, well, the heats are going to be just as insane. Head into the semifinals, because the semifinals are going to be even more crazy than what we had in the heats. It says semifinal 2. It's actually semifinal 1 that we've got on our hands. But we are getting ready to go. Alexander Walton and Kagan Spark on your front row. Arturas Kundelis in P3. Philip Hammer in P4. Let's see what he can do. I think he's not happy with his performance in the heat. Harald Desjotos is all the way down in 6th. This is an all-star grid for this semifinal. And the lights are coming on. Kagan Spark in P2. Alexander Walton in P1. Let's see what they can do. Here we go. Lights out and away we go. Good start from, very good start from Alexander Walton. Kagan Spark has to defend from Arturas Kundelis down into turn 1. It looks pretty clean further back as well. The driver's trying not to crash too much. Alexander Walton off the road. Alexander Walton off the road. He goes off the road and he's going to lose all of those places. We said right before the race he shouldn't make any mistakes. And this is what happens. Alexander Walton, look at that VTech replay. Coming to turn 1. He just touched the grass a little bit there, and he's off the road. Kagan Spark takes the lead of the race now. Philip Hammer has gotten in front of Arturas Kundelis as well. Good job by Philip Hammer. Philip Hammer is going to want revenge on Kagan Spark now. What happened in Heat 1, in their heat, I mean. To the inside goes Kagan Spark. He has to defend from Philip Hammer. Arturas Kundelis behind them as well. He's like the spectator in this. He's hoping for these two to clash side by side everywhere down the grid that you can see. still side by side for the lead. These guys have gone side by side before. Well, down into turn 1 they go again. But I think Philip Hammer's gonna wait out a little bit because Arturas Kundelis has actually a chance to take that place. Martinas Bargalauskas here off the road. It looks like he got unlucky again. Alexander Walton has to start making these places up because he doesn't want to be stuck at the back of the final. Oh, Martinas Bargalauskas just locked up on his own. This is going to be Alexander Walton trying to make a move on Thomas Urbanas. But Thomas Urbanas holds on for the moment, going a little bit wide and over the chicane. Big jump. I don't think you've ever seen the Porsche Cup cars jump this much. But here we go. This is what the OBS Super Cup is all about. Fights and jumps. Marius Sipas actually dropped all the way down to 9th. What happened to him? Maybe the replay machine can be spun up to see what happened to Marius Sipas. He's going to try and go down the inside of Valdes Van Savages, who moves under braking. What a late move by the 119 for the 4SR Racing team. Very, very dangerous, that looked, at least for a moment. Keegan Spark increasing his gap at the top of the field. This is your closest battle. Marius Sipas versus Valdes Van Savages. He's trying to find any way through. He knows he needs to do this as quickly as possible. Alexander Walton down in 12th. Well, this is incredible for Philip Hammer. He's loving this, I think, because he knows that he can get a lot of points. To the inside comes Marius Sipas. I think he's just about going to make that move done. But Valdes Van Savage is not giving up. Maybe he doesn't know that's a pro car coming by him. He's done it. Finally, he's made the move stick, but he's now going to have Edgaras Razanauskas and Eduardas Klepikas trying to catch up as well and trying to make a move. Razanauskas to try and make the move to the outside. Now he chooses, after Van Savages tries to block the inside, to the outside, keeping to the outside. Eduardas Klepikas coming into there as well. And Alexander Walton now is in the picture. He's right behind Eduardas Klepikas here. Oh, somebody, I think, going just a little bit wide there. At least looked like it for a moment. To the outside comes Alexander Walton. He's trying to get past. Eduardas Klepikas in front of him. They've lost out a little bit of time. Razanauskas versus Valdes Van Savages. It is in front, but for the lead, let's get back to that battle. We just see a car go very wide. It was a car going very wide. It was Valdes Van Savages getting Edgaras Razanauskas and letting him through kind of by going so wide. But this is Keegan Spark and Philip Hammer, your biggest battle on the circuit. Just seen a switch for position somewhere a little bit further down the field. Alexander Walton gets past Eduardas Klepikas. Marius Sipas gets past Aurimas Zilinskas, but this is the battle we want to focus on. I think these guys are going to put on a show. Alexander Walton again loses out to Eduardas Klepikas. Somebody was off the road further back in the field. Let's see a VTech replay right here. This is Aurimas Zilinskas. Oh, touches the curb and goes off. Keegan Spark is going to take the white flag, and he's going to come on to the final lap of the race. Coming down into turn 1. Big braking zone into turn 1. Keegan Spark continues to lead by half a second. We can see Haroldas Jototas catching up to this pack. Haroldas Jototas and Philip Hammer will rubbing their hands because they know how far down Alexander Walton is. Walton 6.5 seconds behind Jasulavich's. Huge margin for him that he's not going to be able to overcome. But it looks like it's going to be another victory for Keegan Spark, and that's going to be pole position for tonight's final. We haven't seen, like I said, we haven't seen Keegan Spark up the road that much. Well, incredible result from him today. He's coming to the checkered flag. He's going to take a semifinal win. Keegan Spark wins semifinal 1 ahead of Philip Hammer, ahead of Arturas Kundelis, ahead of Haroldas Jototas. Nicholas Maynard in 5th, 6th for Vakaris Vilus, 7th for Marius Sipas, 8th for Aurimas Zilinskas, 9th for Edgaras Razanauskas, Valdes Van Savages in 10th, Vytautas Jusulavičius in 11th, Alexander Walton after starting from pole and making that mistake down in 12th, Martinas Bargalauskas in 13th, Eduardas Klepikas in 14th, Tomas Urbanas is going to be the final car to finish tonight in semi-final 1 to finish 15th on the grid. Well, what a semi-final that was. I don't think semi-final 2 can beat this in any way. But let's see. You know, these races pull out anything out the back. This is maybe a little bit of a less strong semi-final. But here you have the full overview of what we still have to run. Just the final to go tonight. I'd like this racing to go on forever. Arius Jomantas on pole position. Joey Petrig in P2. Darius Rutschkauskas in P3. Tim Bretsky in P4. 5th for Lars Baumiller. 6th for Sander Vermillion. Tony Renauwen in 7th after an unlucky start to his heat. Remigius Novickis 8th. 9th for Andres Bogdanaitis. Corey Lazarus in 10th. Odomas Sakalauskas in 11th. Ignas Vyšečevskis in 12th. 13th for Justin Lomelli. Henrikas Klepikas on the grid, so in 14th. 15th for Tadas Krasaitis. Let's see what he can do. The lights are coming on for the drivers. 4 lights, 5 lights. Lights out and away we go. Arius Jomantas gets a good getaway. So does Joey Petrig, but an even better getaway from Darius Rutschkauskas. Joey Petrig actually gets in front of Arius Jomantas coming down into turn 1. He's going to try and stay on the outside. That outside so tricky that like Alexander Walton showed, but Arius Jomantas keeps the lead. Darius Rutschkauskas in P3, P4 for Lars Baumiller. Sander Vermillion off the road. Sander Vermillion off the road from the lead of the AM class. He's going to have a massive recovery still to do. Lars Baumiller in P3. He's trying to attack Joey Petrig, I think. This is going to be some team games being played. Tony Renauwen gets past Tim Bretsky. 2 places up for him. 2 places up for Corey Lazarus as well, but that was, I think, with the mishaps of Sander Vermillion. We need to find a replay of what happened to Sander Vermillion there. It was so unfortunate from the lead of the AM class to drop all the way down. Was it just a self-spin? Well, I think the replay machine is being spun up, and we're going to be able to see a replay of what happened to Sander Vermillion. So coming out of turn 1, watching on that VTEC side-by-side, and he just spins off on his own. Wow, that is so unfortunate for him. Well, the circuit is treacherous. Back to the battle for the lead. Actually, closest battle on track, Tony Renauwen trying to get past Darius Rutschkauskas. Tony Renauwen off the road. Tony Renauwen spins and almost takes out Tim Bretsky in the process. Wow, what is going on for the leaders? Tony Renauwen has gone off the road. He saw it in the background. I think the replay machine is being spun up to see what happened to Tony there. The number 48 car. Well, can't believe he's done that. These guys have looked perfect the whole season. What is happening here at Lime Rock Park? Replay machine I can see being spun up. Here we go. This is between Tony Renauwen and Darius Rutschkauskas. Darius Rutschkauskas looked a bit slow on the exit, but no, it was just the tank slapper from Tony Renauwen, almost taking out Tim Bretsky in the process. That would have not made Simsa team boss happy there, with his 2 drivers almost colliding out on track. This is still your battle for the lead. Petrig still on the back of Jomantas. Baumiller still on the back of Petrig. Darius Rutschkauskas running his best race of the season. We know he's had some mishaps. We know he's had drivers taking him out. Well, now he's alone on the circuit. There's no one to take him out. Tim Bretsky maybe trying to close down the gap on him, but that gap's still 2.3 seconds. That was... I think I saw Tadas Krasaitis actually having some contact, but he's up to P11. Henrikas Klepikas in 13th. I think he had something happen to him as well, but this is Tadas Krasaitis versus, I think that's Ignas Vyšečevskis. Just touch. And that was Tony Renauwen coming through on them. So Tony Renauwen doesn't have any damage. This is lucky for him. He's going to be able to try and get some moves done. This is still your battle for the lead. So tight. And these drivers try to not make a mistake as well, because they don't want anything to happen for... They don't want anything to happen for their starting place in the final. But super close now. 1.7 tenths of a second. That's the gap between P1 and P2. 2 laps to go. They take the 2-lap board right now to the outside. Joey Petrig to the inside is Arius Jomantas. Jomantas still keeping to the inside. That's the preferred position. That's the preferred line. He tries to brake in the middle of the turn just to not let Joey Petrig try and switch him over. Lars Baumiller, the rear gunner for Arius Jomantas. Lars wants to get P2 as well. because he wants a very good starting position for himself. I can see Tony Renauen trying to do something. Lars Baumiller to the inside. Nope, doesn't get it done. A replay here. Something happened, I think, to Ignas Vincerzewskis off the road. Oh, massive hold of the car there, even though he's lost the position. What car control he's displayed there, but something happened to Lars Baumiller. And I think we need to spin that replay machine up again. We were looking at that other replay, and something happened to Lars Baumiller that he's gone off the road. Here we go, looking at the VTech replay. To the inside comes Lars Baumiller, and he just locks up, hits the curb. Oh, big tank slapper, and just goes off. Just went wide, and that kind of ruins his chances. I think they've traded places with Tim Bretsky as well. Maybe some team orders in play there as well. White flag in the air. Then this is the middle of the white flag lap for Airius Jomantas, who's going to put his car on the front row next to Kagan Spark. Two drivers we haven't seen on the front row, I think, at all this season. But Airius Jomantas, incredibly clean drive to take it from pole to victory here in semifinal 2. Right behind him, Joey Petrick. Then Darius Rachkauskas is going to take a podium for Locals Autosport at the Locals Autosport Super Cup of Lime Rock. Incredible result for him. Lars Baumiller in 4th, 5th for Tim Bretsky, 6th for Corey Lazarus, 7th for Remigius Novickis, 8th for Tony Renauen. You remember that mistake that he had. Sander Vermillion in 9th. He's recovered super well to finish all the way up to 9th. 10th for Tadas Krasaitis, 11th for Aurimas Sakalauskas, 12th for Ignas Vincerzewskis, Henrikas Klepekas, and 13th. Andrius Belakanavičius, he's still driving around the track, but he's going to finish in 14th. Justin Lomelli, 3 laps behind, and he's going to finish down in 15th place. Well, that's your semi-final done and dusted. Incredible racing throughout. Kagan Spark on an incredible pole position. First pole position for him of the year. We've done all of this. We've done qualifying. We've done Heat A, Heat B, Heat C, Heat D, semi-final 1, and semi-final 2. We're in to the main event of tonight. The final of the OBS Super Cup, the Locals Autosport Super Cup of Lime Rock. 10 laps for the drivers to try and make up time. Marius Sipas in 13th, he's going to want to make up time. 16th for Tony Renauen, he's going to want to make time. Keep an eye out on Alexander Walton, starting all the way down in 27th position. A dad and son duo in 25th and 26th. It's Eduardas and Henrikas Klepekas. Eduardas coming back just this weekend, racing in the Porsche Sprint Cup North European Zone Championship. Kagan Spark on the front row with Airius Jomantas, lights out, and away we go. Big points for these guys on offer, and big points against Alexander Walton. Philip Hammer to the inside of Airius Jomantas immediately. He's gotten a better start than him, but I think Airius just about going to hold the outside line. Huge grid of cars approaching turn 1 here at Lime Rock. To the outside is still Airius Jomantas. Kagan Spark still keeps the lead. Jomantas trying to stay on the inside. I think he's just about going to get it done. Yes, he does. Stays in front of Philip Hammer. Now Hammer's going to have to contend with Arturas Kundelis coming up to him. Alexander Walton making moves further down the field. Touch, and a big touch, and another touch. That's Hammer off the road. He's going to have to cut across the track. Remember, you have to rejoin safely. Oh, more carnage in the chicane. That's someone else off as well. Marius Sipas all the way up into P10. 3 places up for him. 8 places for Thomas Urbanas. Henrikas Klepekas, 7 places up. Justin Lomelli, 4 places up. Where's Alexander Walton? He's still down in 27, and he's got damage on his car. Oh, no. For Alexander Walton, that's not a perfect race start and not the race start that he wanted. I think we're going to have to spin that replay machine up for the chicane. I really want to see what happened there. That was crazy what was happening down at the chicane. So many cars off the road. Marius Sipas making moves. He's trying to get in front of Nicholas Maynard. Maynard wide. Off the track goes Nicholas Maynard. Another car off the track. Well, at least off a little bit. At least off a little bit, but still waiting for that replay of what happened happened in that chicane. So many cars off the road, carnage everywhere. We don't even know who was the first car to be involved in that. Alexander Walton up to 17th already. He's made 10 places in one lap. There's been another crash, I think, at the chicane. Here we go. This is lap 1, the chicane. Oh, there was a big touch to the back of one of the PPF cars. I think that was Henrik Asklepikas who got touched, and he got collected in all of the other cars that was there. You can see Alexander Walton on the left-hand side of your screen doing something happening to him. Arius Jomantas staying in P2. It's a Lithuanian 2 and 3 between him and Arturas Kundelis. Jototas in 4th, but Keegan Sparks still leads the race. This is another replay of what happened here. This is Alexander Walton. I think he just got collected. Oh, that's so unlucky. He just got collected by a car flying through the field. That was Joey Petrick there spun as well. I'd like to see what happened to Joey Petrick there at that corner. Incredible scenes at this point in the championship. This is Sipas versus Vilius, and this will be Vakaris Vilius actually leads the Pro-Am class. He's up 5 places from where he started. There were so many cars, so much stuff happening there. It was incredible. Here we have a replay of what happened to one of the leaders, Joey Petrick. I think he got collected by someone. Ah, that was just 3 wide into the chicane. No way to avoid that by anyone, I think, but the stewards are still going to have a look. Marius Sipas gets in front of Vakaris Vilius, who kind of has to let everyone go now, and he's going to have a battle with Oda Mashilinska side by side. This is for the Pro-Am class lead. The Pro lead, well, that's kind of settled. Keegan Spark, 2 seconds up, and I think he's just going to about keep that lead, whatever happens. Vilius versus Zilinskas. You've got Renauen versus Hammer ahead. You've got Sipas trying to catch Tim Bretsky, but that's a big gap. That's 1.8 seconds. I don't think that's manageable here today. Walton gets past Razanauskas here. Look at how damaged Alex's car is. He's down in P14. This is going to be an event to forget for him. Henrikas Klepikas in 16th. No, so that was Eduardas Klepikas, I think, getting sent across the track in the beginning of the race. 10 places up for Henrikas Klepikas. The huge gainers of today's race, of today's final, actually, I can tell you right now, that is Alexander Walton plus 13, Justin Lomelli plus 13, plus 10 for Henrikas Klepikas, and we're not seeing any other huge gainers. Laurus Baumer down 22. He was involved in that start incident. Cars have kind of evened out a little bit now, but Henrikas Klepikas coming through the field. He's had an unlucky weekend today. He's had an unlucky evening, but he's going to come to the inside of Edgaras Razanauskas, going to make that move stick pretty easily. Wow. I couldn't believe how much action there was in the first few turns. That was incredible, and incredible what happened to the race lead. But this is Keegan Spark. He's coming up to a little bit of lap traffic. I think that's one of the 100 Force cars up in front of him. That should be Nicholas Maynard. He's one of the most promising drivers in the Pro-Am field. But you've still kind of, I think we've lost the battle for the Pro-Am win here today in the Locals Autosport Super Cup of Lime Rock. It is Vakaris Vilius for Locals Autosport leading the field. It's kind of all spread out a little bit, at least. Actually, Philip Hammer coming up to the back of Marius Sipas, but Philip Hammer all the way across the grass there. Something happening, I think, to Darius Račkauskas, but maybe he had an incident earlier on. Just having the replay machine spun up to see what happened to him. Why does he have that much damage on his car? I'm just looking at another screen, and that's where I'm seeing this. He's actually come out of the pits, so maybe the replay machine can find and go back even further to see where that incident was. This is Keegan Spark, your Pro leader. Remigius Navitskis, well, 1 position in front of Sander Vermillion. That's your battle for P1 in the AM class. That battle is back. See something happening here. This was for Darius Račkauskas. I think this is lap 2, actually. Oh, big touch. Doesn't smack the wall just yet. Still keeps spinning around. Oh, big damage. again. Oh, and another hit. Wow. A lot of hitting here tonight. This is Remigius Navickas versus Sander Vermillion. Sander Vermillion looks a little bit quicker. And he's trying to catch up. Arturas Kundel is 4/10 behind Arius Jomantas. No other real huge battles, unless it's Marius Supas versus Tim Bretsky that we can worry about here. 3 laps to go. No, 2 laps to go, because Keegan Spark has crossed the line for the 2-lap board to be shown. Marius Supas, I don't think Tim Bretsky is going to fight this one too much. No, he actually lifts off down the straight to let his teammate through. Sensible. You don't want teammates colliding, especially when you've got an angry Philip Hammer who, well, he wanted to go hammer time. That didn't happen today because he's been involved in quite a few incidents, mostly not of his doing. And, well, Keegan Spark has just been quicker. This is Hammer versus Tim Bretsky actually going side by side. Trying to make a move is Philip Hammer, trying to get a few more places up because he knows how much he can gain on Alexander Walton, who's down in 14th place. He's not going to catch another driver here today, I think. Tony Renaud now a threat for Philip Hammer as well. This is your battle for P1. Coming to the white flag, the leader, Keegan Spark, takes the white flag, and one more lap here at Lime Rock. They're getting through some lap traffic. This is a freeway fight. 4P6 to the outside, Philip Hammer to the inside, Tim Bretsky, and I think to the inside we're going to see Tony Renaud in a moment as well. No, just a little bit too far away. They're going to try again to get this move done somehow. And this is them. Oh, Philip Hammer touches the grass. He tries to avoid it. Tony Renaud has already done that this race before. Tony Renaud gets in front of him. But side by side, VTech racers side by side, because, well, that battle is actually gone. Keegan Spark, from the final turn, he comes out to the line. An incredible victory for Keegan Spark in the number 22 car. Arius Jomantas in second, Arturas Kunderis in third, fourth for Haraldas Jotutas. Marius Supas finishes in fifth. 6th for Tim Bretsky, 7 for Tony Renaud, who got around this almost spinning Philip Hammer. Vakaris Vilus wins the Pro-Am class ahead of Audemars Žilinskas, ahead of Tadas Krasaitis, who makes an incredible 9-position recovery. Somebody's celebrating there. I don't know who. Keegan Spark running to the flag. Sander Vermillion actually got P1 there at the end. At least that's what it says in my timing screen. Maybe the replay machine can be spun up to see what actually happened. How did Sander Vermillion take the lead of the Pro-Am class? But applause to this man. What an incredible, incredible result by him. Keegan Spark. We haven't seen him at the front the whole season. We know he's had issues. And now he's finally done it. Congratulations to Keegan Spark. An incredible result by him. And what an incredible drive by him as well. Keegan Spark doing donuts on the Lime Rock side. Beautiful to see. And what a drive by him that was. The number 22 car. He takes his first victory of the season and the third different victor of this race, of this year as well. We've actually got the battle for P1 in the AM class happening. Well, what happened here, right? So coming down into turn 1, we can see, oh, and a big hit against Remigius Navickas. That was by Sander Vermillion. I'm not sure the stewards are going to look very favorably on that one. But here are your results for tonight. The Locals Autosport Super Cup of Lime Rock. Keegan Spark takes the win at the front of the field. Arius Jomantas in P2. Third for Arturas Kunderis. Fourth for Haraldas Jotutas. Fifth for Marius Supas. Sixth for Tim Bretsky. 7 for Tony Renaud. Philip Hammer in 8th. 9th for Vakaris Vilus. 10 for Audemars Žilinskas. Tadas Krasaitis. Incredible P3. And finally, a clean recovery. Alexander Walton. So many places up, but just not enough. 15 positions up. Henrikas Klepekas. 13 places up. 14 for Edgaras Rosanauskas, 15 for Joey Petrick. Winner, actually, in the Pro-Am. So I think that was Sander Vermillion getting a penalty for incident points. 16 for Remigius Nowitzki, 17 for Lomelli, 18 for Aurimas Sakalauskas. And then you've got the rest of the grid. It was 19 for Martinas Pargalauskas. Good recovery from him. Ignas Vincerzewskis in 20th. 21st for Thomas Urbanas. Then we've got Nicholas Maynard in 22nd. 23rd for Sander Vermillion. Vytautas Juselevičius 24th. 25th for Andrius Bogdanovičius. Valdas Vincevičius in 26th. 27th for Eduardas Klepikas. Corey Lazarus in 28th. 29th for Darius Račkauskas. And Lars Baumeller in 30th place. Do we have any more drivers? No. We'll wait to see if anybody wants to jump into the interview room as well to talk about what happened in today's race. There was so much stuff happening. I couldn't really even believe it. But like I said, Keegan Spark takes his first win of this year. And, well, what a effort from him. Fantastic drive from Keegan Spark. Arius Helmontas takes a podium in second. Arturas Kundelis podium in third. Fourth for Haraldas Jotautas. Big points gained over Alexander Walton for all of those. In 2 weeks' time, we're here for the grand finale at the Circuit du Spa-Francorchamps. If it's at least a 10th this crazy as it was here today, well, you're in for a treat. Thank you, everybody, for joining us tonight. Thank you for joining us for the Locals Autosport Super Cup of Lime Rock. And the OBS Super Cup continues to impress. This has been the OBS World team bringing you the broadcast tonight. Thank you very much, and good night.